Have you ever wondered what happens when one of the most powerful people in the world, Elon Musk, goes head-to-head with the Supreme Court of a country? Well, that's exactly what's unfolding in Brazil. Amid a fierce debate, the visionary billionaire, who controls companies like X and Starlink, finds himself at the heart of a dispute that goes far beyond controversial tweets or satellite connections. At stake here isn't just freedom of speech, but the very digital sovereignty of a nation. Who would have thought Brazil would become the epicenter of such an intense battle, with decisions that could potentially reshape global technology? If you think Musk always wins, this story might make you think twice. The Brazilian Supreme Court isn't backing down, and the sanctions imposed for violating national regulations are just the beginning. Can the tech tycoon outmaneuver the laws of one of the world's largest democracies? Or are we about to witness a clash of titans with consequences that could echo for years? If you want to understand what's really going on in this monumental showdown between Elon Musk and Brazil's Supreme Court and how it affects the future of global communications, you're in the right place. Stick around to uncover the truth behind this battle and what it means for all of us. Brazil's Supreme Court, often the final say in critical national decisions, recently upheld a major ruling. In a move that surprised many, the court ordered the temporary blocking of X, formerly known as Twitter. The reason? Violations of national regulations, which, according to the justices, endangered the digital safety and integrity of Brazilian citizens. The decision was unanimous, showcasing the unified power of the country's highest court. This is part of a broader conversation around regulating digital platforms, bringing technology face-to-face with the rule of law. Now imagine how this decision impacts the daily lives of millions of Brazilians who rely on these networks for information or even to work. This isn't just about shutting down a social media platform. It's about how much influence companies like X have over our lives and how we navigate the vast digital world. In this context, Elon Musk, always a controversial figure, finds himself at the center of a debate that touches on not just national politics, but also technological sovereignty. Brazil is setting boundaries, and this echoes throughout the country. It also raises a bigger question. What role does the Supreme Court play in the digital age? This isn't the first time Brazil has taken a hard stance against tech giants, and it begs the question, how effective are these temporary bans? And more importantly, what happens next? Like any strategic game, the first move is just the beginning. And with Elon Musk on the board, the game is far from over. What will his next move be? With the Supreme Court's ruling in effect, the consequences didn't stop at just the platform itself. The hefty fine of $18 million imposed on X was just the start. Elon Musk, known for defying the rules, faced a steep penalty that affects not only his business in Brazil, but also sends a clear message. Disregarding local laws can be very costly. For Brazilians, many of whom use VPNs to bypass these restrictions, things are getting trickier. Beyond technical difficulties, they now face potential legal penalties as well. So trying to game the system could lead to financial or even judicial consequences. For those considering using a VPN to access X, it's important to remember that this decision didn't come out of nowhere. In Brazil, where digital legislation is becoming increasingly robust, users need to be aware of the consequences of their online actions. Using a VPN might seem like a simple solution, but like any shortcut, it could bring more problems than it solves. For instance, in countries like China, using VPNs to access blocked networks can lead to hefty fines. While Brazil isn't as strict, the rules are changing quickly. You might be wondering, what if I need to access these platforms for work? At this point, the best alternative is to explore other solutions, like using less problematic platforms or even consulting with digital rights attorneys to better understand the implications. The truth is, in the ever-changing world of the internet, Brazil's sanctions signal that the country doesn't intend to be a mere spectator. This brings up an even more interesting point. How are these tensions escalating on a global scale? Enjoying our content? Our channel is here to show you a modern Brazil, far beyond the cliches of samba, soccer, beaches, and caipirinhas. We want you to discover the real Brazil, a country full of potential with a unique diversity and incredible capacity to become a global powerhouse in many areas. And the best part? Everything is explained in a simple, straightforward, and engaging way. But to keep growing and bringing even more quality content to you, we need your support. Here's an invitation. Join us on this journey. Hit the like button. It motivates us to keep going. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications so you won't miss any updates. Trust us, there's a lot of great stuff coming. And if you have suggestions, we'd love to hear from you. And of course, thank you. Or as we say here in Brazil, a big hug from Brazil. Elon Musk isn't just clashing with Brazil over his digital platforms. In countries like Australia, the European Union, and the UK, the billionaire has faced similar legal battles, accused of allowing harmful content to spread on X. Interestingly, while Brazil's regulations seem to have caught many off guard, in other places, tensions have been simmering for some time. In Australia, for example, the platform was heavily criticized for enabling the spread of fake news during environmental crises. These conflicts show that Musk's actions aren't isolated, and Brazil is just another player in a global dispute. The key point here is that Musk, with his often controversial approach, challenges norms in various jurisdictions. While some view him as a champion of free speech, others accuse him of failing to control harmful content on his platforms. In the European Union, for instance, there have been multiple initiatives aimed at holding the platform accountable for misinformation related to the COVID-19 pandemic. These efforts reflect a larger trend. Governments around the world are waking up to the massive power of these platforms and seeking ways to control them. Musk, therefore, constantly finds himself at a crossroads between adhering to local regulations and maintaining his libertarian stance, often ignoring geopolitical borders. The big question is, how far is Elon Musk willing to go? Democratic governments have shown less tolerance for companies that try to operate above the law. The EU has been one of the toughest enforcing heavy sanctions, and Brazil is following a similar path. This makes us wonder about the future of X and how the company will adapt to these global tensions, or whether Musk will continue to wage these battles on multiple fronts. In the end, is he truly concerned about free speech, or is it just a guise to keep control of his businesses? While Musk has been dealing with issues on X, his other company, Starlink, has also started feeling the heat from Brazil's Supreme Court. Starlink, which has become a critical player in many parts of the world by providing satellite internet, had its assets frozen in Brazil. This came after the court found links between the company and economic groups that challenge Brazilian regulations. This move highlighted Brazil's determination to regulate even the most powerful companies, regardless of their technological importance. In Starlink's case, this raises questions about the future of its operations, particularly in remote areas like the Amazon. The freeze on Starlink's assets has broad implications. The company, praised for bringing connectivity to hard-to-reach places, now finds itself in a bind. While the technology offered by Starlink is undeniably groundbreaking, its association with Musk makes Brazilian authorities more cautious. The message from the court is clear. No matter how essential a technology might be, it must follow the rules of the country in which it operates. And this sparks a larger debate about how Brazil plans to balance technological development with the desire to maintain control over its digital infrastructure. This action also serves as a warning to other tech companies operating in Brazil. After all, if even Elon Musk, with all his global influence, is facing sanctions in the country, it's a sign that Brazil's laws are becoming increasingly strict to protect national interests. Now the question remains, can Brazil maintain this control, or will companies like Starlink find new ways to navigate around sanctions? The tension between technology and regulation is just beginning, and Brazil seems to be at the center of this discussion. Freedom of speech is a banner Elon Musk frequently waves, especially when it comes to his management of X. To many, his actions on platforms like this appear contradictory. While he claims to defend free speech, his decisions to remove or keep certain content in different countries have stirred controversy. In Brazil, this debate has become even more heated with the temporary blocking of X. The question many are asking is, does Musk truly defend free speech at its core, or only when it suits his business interests? The answer seems to vary depending on the political context of each country. For example, when Musk purchased Twitter, now X, he announced that he would restore true freedom of speech on the platform. However, what we've seen in many cases is the selective removal of content depending on the laws and regulations of each nation. This calls into question the true intent behind his actions. In some places, he's hailed as a hero of digital freedom, while in others, like Brazil, his actions are scrutinized by authorities. It's not uncommon for public figures, including politicians and experts, to argue that Musk's vision of free speech serves more as a shield for his bus. It's not uncommon for public figures, including politicians and experts, to argue that Musk's vision of free speech serves more as a shield for his business interests than a genuine ideal. The reality is that this debate is far from resolved. Free speech as a concept has always been complex, and with the increasing influence of digital platforms, it's become even more challenging. Musk, with his immense power and influence, sits at the heart of this global battle. But is he willing to fight for this cause in every country, or will his actions continue to shift based on economic and legal convenience? Either way, Brazil is just one of many arenas where this battle is playing out, and it makes us wonder, which country will challenge Musk next? Brazil holds a strategic position in Elon Musk's plans, especially when it comes to Starlink. The company is seen as a game changer in terms of connectivity in remote regions like the Amazon, where internet access is limited. Starlink has achieved something many other companies have tried and failed to do: provide fast, accessible service in areas that have traditionally been left behind in the digital revolution. However, this reliance on a single company raises an important question. Should Brazil put all its eggs in Musk's basket, or seek other partnerships to avoid becoming too dependent? Digital infrastructure experts have been warning about the risks of over-reliance on Starlink. While the technology is effective, a failure or even business decisions made by Musk could severely impact connectivity in vast parts of the country. Imagine the impact of a service outage in crucial areas like the Amazon, which already face significant structural challenges. This is why many are advocating for Brazil to diversify its technological options, seeking agreements with other companies to prevent this kind of de facto monopoly. Emerging alternatives, such as community networks or partnerships with other tech giants, are worth considering. The issue here goes beyond connectivity. It's about digital sovereignty. In a world increasingly dependent on technology, Brazil needs to ensure it has control over its networks and that its interests are protected. While the relationship with Musk brings many benefits, it shouldn't be exclusive. The country needs autonomy to manage its critical infrastructure, and that includes internet access in remote regions. But this is a decision that requires long-term planning, and Brazil is only just beginning to chart this course. Will technological diversification be the smartest way forward? Elon Musk has been engaging in particularly intense battles with democratic governments, and Brazil is no exception. On the global stage, countries like France and Brazil have become examples of democracies directly challenging Musk, especially regarding the court rulings he tries to evade. These confrontations make it clear that Musk's rising influence can be seen by many as a threat to democratic institutions. After all, when one person or company can openly defy court rulings, we're talking about a concentration of power that crosses borders and challenges sovereignty. In Brazil, where democracy is still young and evolving, these tensions are particularly sensitive. It's no wonder that both here and in France, the debates over Musk's influence go beyond simple control of a social network or a satellite company. It's about how these technologies can shape the future of nations. Governments like Brazil's are showing they're willing to fight to preserve their legislation and sovereignty. But Musk, with his sprawling business empire and global charisma, doesn't seem ready to back down easily. It remains to be seen how far these conflicts will go, and whether Brazil, like other countries, will be able to maintain control over its own digital infrastructure, or if Musk will continue to shape communication and technology on his own terms. The next move is coming, and the world is watching. Now that you know the details of this showdown between Elon Musk and Brazil's Supreme Court, the big question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Are we ready to rethink our role in the digital age? The truth is, this confrontation is about more than a billionaire challenging the law. It's a reflection of how control over information and technology can influence today's democracies. And in the end, the real question is, how far are we willing to let tech giants shape our future? Brazil is stepping up in this discussion, and maybe it's time to reflect on how we can protect ourselves and benefit more consciously. So, if you enjoyed this content and want to keep learning about topics as important as this, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss a single video and can continue deepening your understanding of the great battles shaping the world today. Let's embark on this journey together to understand how the power of technology impacts our lives and our freedom.